Dude!
What's up? What's up?
Hey guys, how is everyone?
There's a new game. It's like football. I want to try it.
Oh, you want to start losing in football now? What will be before the World Cup?
Join. I want to see what this game is about. Just join.
We'll need to do that later, bro, because we
Yeah,
are already
after
on
the
the
brew.
time for the bro.
All right, make a test game just to know what's going on.
Welcome, everybody. All you guys are joining now. Let's wait a few minutes until more people join. Um, I already had my 2 coffees of the day, so I'm not having anything right now. Just say, what are you going for this, bro?
Bro, I didn't have time to get anything because you were on the meeting right now. I guess I'll take at least a glass of water. I'll be right back. Just a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, all good, all good. Dom, sir, how are you?
I'm doing damn good right now. I'm doing
Okay,
really good.
nice, awesome. So yeah, guys, welcome to the brew. Not starting yet. We'll wait 2 more minutes probably for more people to get the ping and join. Um, but today we're going to be speaking about resources. So we're going to be theory crafting about resources and their use cases. So what can and should resources be used for in Star Atlas? And we have been chatting about this internally, and we are brainstorming also internally some ideas for resources that we'd like to get your feedback and opinions on, because I don't know, I think they are pretty cool. I am not going to spoil anything yet. Not going to spoil anything yet. Um, but yeah, guys. So ah, let's see.
I mean, before we start, Santi,
Yeah.
what is the Atlas Brew? Just for
Oh,
people who maybe new.
that's a great question. So if you're new and you have no idea what the Atlas Brew is, the brew is the place where we all come together, and we are basically we nerd out about Atlas. This is the place where you can feel comfortable with your cup of coffee in your right hand and just chatting about anything related to Atlas and the game. And we have a structure in which we included economics, politics, game structure, and a freestyle one. So we have 3 different topics plus freestyle every month. And I think I pretty much covered everything, right, Tom?
I would say the one thing, just one thing to add, is that while we are theory crafting, we are taking notes during this whole entire uh, call or chat, whatever you want to call it, and we're giving these notes to the team, whoever it makes sense to give to. So whatever you say and whatever you theory craft, we're making sure that all of your ideas are sent to the team. Now, I'm not going to sit here and guarantee that they make it in game or anything along those lines, but I will guarantee you that the team does see them and they do have it at their brain, well, in their brain. So who knows? Maybe an idea that gets brought up on the brew makes it into the game. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But other than that,
And
yeah,
maybe some of the questions we ask come directly from the team departments, right?
yeah, that too.
Oh,
Maybe. Maybe.
yeah. It's the cool part about the brew is that it's like we are co-creating the game, right? So everyone has a shot on improving Star Atlas, which was the objective when we thought about the brew, is to make Star Atlas better. So yeah, let's use our imagination here and go wild on theory crafting to make Star Atlas the best game possible.
Exactly. So for today we have resources, and Jose is maybe bringing some things he has been thinking about, which I think everybody will love them. Uh, but
Hmm.
let's start with the obvious, right? Let's start with I want to hear from you guys. From first, Dom and Jose, of course. I like to put you guys on the spot. But let's get started with the Atlas rule number 39. And my question is, what do you guys think resources should be used for in Star Atlas?
Well, like you said, I think there's a lot of obvious things. I'll start with just one of them. Obviously, being ships. We've known about ship manufacturing for a while, and collecting resources and building ships has already been a huge thing for guilds and people who want to make those ships. So it's a big career already that's already started, and I think that's going to be a huge thing in the future as well. I'm interested to see, like, on the topic of ships with resources, how many resources, how much time it'll take to create like a Titan ship in the future. I think that topic's super interesting to me. But other than that, I think resources for ships, ship creation makes the most sense. Getting one of the obvious ones out of the way. What about you, Jose?
Yeah. When we think about resources, we are thinking about the very primary form of how the Star Atlas economy works, right? It's something that's important to always notice that everything in Star Atlas is acquired and constructed and crafted by the players. And resources are the raw material that we use to build pretty much everything in Star Atlas, starting from ships, as you just said, to all infrastructure like the star bases, the components on infrastructure, the space stations, mining grids, and things like that. So today we will explore, of course, these natural and uh, most obvious uses of resources, but we are also exploring some ideas that I had about how resources can drive Star Atlas to the next level and create very entertaining and different careers. Today, I received the permission from Mo to discuss a little bit about Screen.
Well, who's
And
Mo? Who's Mo, Jose?
Who's
who is
Mo?
Mo? Who is Mo? I thought that Mo didn't need an introduction, you know? He's a legend in this space already.
No, he wants to be
Well,
famous, so we have to give him his fame.
yeah, much love to Mo. He's our leading project manager in Project Sage now.
Ooh,
And he told,
feels good to say Sage, huh?
yeah, man, it's a good name, right? I
Right.
like it. And I was talking to Mo, and I had been working with getting the descriptions and the lore and everything around the resources of Star Atlas. And when you guys see the resources for the first time, you see that there's some lore attached to it, and some of them are pretty special. You know, like there are resources that only exist in the star systems of the Onis, the Muds, and the Woosters, and we will see them becoming useful already in screen. Those resources will be used to craft recipes on different things, like for example, star bases, and also on resources for the fleets to fly. Things like fuel, food, and etc. that we need to keep our fleets on the battlefronts of Star Atlas. And resources are pretty much the driving force of this whole economy, right? And control of resources is like one of the main objectives of Screen. If you control the resources, you control the flow of how the battles will function, how the economy will function in Screen. So I feel that maybe we could think of Sage as a great chessboard where we need to dominate and protect different areas to ensure the flow of goods. So yeah, man, I'm really excited to already
Yeah,
for the use case of those resources in Screen.
yeah. I think one thing that is going to be very important in Sage is the coordination that will be required, like from the resource extraction to actually distributing that to the members of the guild, for example, or anything like that. What do you think,
Yeah.
Jose? You can correct me if I'm wrong. You can correct me.
Yeah, I missed the last part, bro. I'm sorry.
When Jose is quiet, it's because he's analyzing something,
Uh,
you know.
he's dead nothing right
Can you repeat the last part, please?
No,
I didn't
sure,
hear.
man. Of course. I was saying that what you need is going to be important in Sage, in my opinion, is the coordination of people who extract the resources down from that to actually distributing that to the guild or faction.
I mean, not just in Sage, right? Like even in the
Yeah, yeah,
UE5
yeah.
game, like it's gonna be it's
Exactly.
gonna
With
be
in UE5, it's
insanely
going to be
important.
even more important, right? Like
And
with
there's
Yeah,
and
controlling
and
resources is absolutely essential. It's
yeah,
essential.
I completely agree with you too. And what you said is just correct because as we were discussing in some previous brews, there is a dynamic of power in Star Atlas Sage, right? We need to acquire resources to keep the fleets going live, but we also need to fight to acquire territory and protect the guys that are doing the mining of resources, right? So this is actually Santi. This is the one of the main themes of Sage, right? How to keep the balance between your fighting forces and your mining and resources excavation forces. And yeah, you are 100% correct in assuming that this one will be one of the major things about resources. And we'll see this also in R2, right? Because in R2, we are building a freaking huge warp gate that requires a lot of resources to be created. As we
man,
saw in Michael's presentation in Lisbon.
yeah. I want to go
So
back a little bit to like the actual use cases of resources. I'm pretty sure we're missing some use
Talk
cases.
to me. Talk to me, Santi. Talk to me.
Bro, I'm just saying there's probably a lot of use cases for resources that we are missing, and there's probably a lot of alpha that Jose has.
Oh, okay, sure.
That
oh, you don't put him on spot like that, bro.
of course, man, as always, as always. You know how we do this. I want to hear from the community. Like we mentioned a few, like creation of guns. We mentioned, of course, creation of ships, components, uh, also crafting infrastructure. Like, what other things do you guys think that resources will be used for? That's I'm putting
can I?
everyone on the spot right now.
Can I? Oh man, Torak just said what I was going to say.
Okay.
Uh, resources, in my
Jose,
opinion,
steady, steady, Jose, steady.
steady,
We're getting
steady.
there. We're getting there. Yeah, yeah, steady. Hold on.
I
Does it?
shouldn't
Does
talk
it?
about that. Okay.
Not yet. Does anyone else have something basic?
Thanks.
Torak just said it.
You think so? Okay. Let's go. Let's move on to it then. I'm down.
Can we go?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, just we know you. You can't contain it, man.
Bro, it's not my fault. Torak advanced the headlight while driving the car. Yeah, yeah, Torek, you are absolutely right. I think that resources will be a major thing in something that I call the research and recipes crafting. You know, like for example, you know how to make an air bike, but maybe there are different ways to spice your air bike a little bit, and maybe you can start using different materials to power your air bike. Maybe you can get a better power core to make it more efficient. Maybe you can try to add some luminite crystals. And here I just leaked the name of one of the our resources in screen to make it
Official
Note.
resource. Write
Take
it down.
note.
Jose, type it in the chat. Luminite crystals, right? Type it.
man, luminite crystals will be it's something
Talk to
really
me
cool.
about them, Jose. Talk to me.
Yeah, luminite crystals are something very unique in the Staratas galaxy. It comes from the Miares culture, and it's a crystal that has a liquid metal core inside it. And once you start agitating it, it creates electric energy. So it can be used in crafting many interesting uh, applications, which this alpha I won't share, but I don't know, maybe, yeah, I don't have, I don't have the image.
I love
But
this.
yeah, guys, you know that there's a crystal with a liquid core that can be used to create electric energy in the universe of Star Atlas.
Going
And
back. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Jose. I didn't mean to. Go
and
for it.
since I did some alpha about the Oni, I also had some alpha about the Oosters. There's also a crystal named Arco that comes in a variety of different colors. For example, you have a teal, a purple one, an orange one, a yellow one. And you guys see that how the Oosters in different photos or different arts, they have different colors. It's because they use those arco crystals, and those crystals they reflect the degree of spiritual elevation or spiritual experience that an Ustur has. So that's why we see Usturs lightening with different colors.
You
This
know what this
is
kind of reminds me of, Jose? I
mm.
know you. I know you also like anime. Demon Slayer, where they touch the sword and it turns like a certain color depending on who they are as a person.
Oh
Right?
yeah, there's this feature in Demon Slayer, but in the Ustur's case, it's like it's a representation of how evolved you are into finding the truths of the Ustur journey, you know? So it's a way of them to showcase to their fellow Usturs where they are right now, you know? It's very important in the
It's a
Ustur
flex.
society.
It's
You know what?
Ooster Clout. That is what this is.
Yeah. You know what, Jose? I'm starting to feel a little bad because Ooster lore is so damn cool. I remember the Elder stuff, and then now we have this stuff. Man, I'm just an alien. Win Oni lore, man.
Imagine if you're a human. Like, imagine if you're a mom.
Oh wait, bombers here, man. Bombers here. We gotta keep it steady, man. Sorry, bombers.
Oh
Man,
yeah, keep talking shit about the mud. Just keep doing it.
man, I'll say something. Muds shouldn't feel bad, you know. Like my storyline of the events year by year of Star Atlas that starts like in year 2000 and go to 2623. I would say that 45% of the entries are about the Muds and all the chaos that they wreak across the galaxy. So there will be a
Okay.
lot about the Muds and the Oni factions. Each
Yeah,
one of the
more. Give me
races
some.
of the each one of the races of the Oni factions, they are super different from anything that we have in terms of game, and their culture are all unique. And I'm actually fighting to start getting those things out to the community because I feel that it's time that you guys start relating with your races and your factions and your civilizations, and we start seeing those as we progress in screen.
Yeah.
which which take us back to the focus of this
Resources.
build. That's not
Yes,
the
yes,
lore. Yeah.
yes. I mean,
Well,
if we can
come
get some
on,
alpha
come
from
on,
you,
man.
just
Come on, man.
how we operate here,
I,
just
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
you
I
know
want
how
I
it is.
want I want to bring some alpha in terms of resources and and lore and the future of screen. And this is something that we are currently discussing. Will probably take a little while to see things like what I'm going to describe now, but we feel that, and this is something that I have personally been working, especially in the lore side. I want the Star Atlas universe to have very unique events that are triggered by random conditions that players should not be aware at before they happen. And this becomes very interesting because everything in our game is on chain, right? So we can have all sorts of triggers to different conditions. I don't know if any community member here is a fan of flowers, but there's a very interesting
I'm a fan
flower.
of flowers.
You're a fan of flowers, Santi?
Yes.
I believe that, Santi. I
Oh,
believe you
man.
are the kind of guy that brings a flower to one of your dates and offer to the lucky lady to go out on the date with you. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Wow, Jose.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
a
I'm that
man.
kind of guy. I'm that kind of
Oh
guy.
man.
Yeah.
So guys, I want to,
I wasn't even done with the other topic, man. I had a point there.
bro. What can I say? You can't stop.
You're
You
moving
can't
too
stop. You
fast,
can't
Jose.
stop, bro.
you're, you're moving too fast, Jose.
Okay, can I just share the story? Then we go back to the other
Okay,
topic.
okay, go.
Okay.
Breaking news:
Sorry.
Polis is pamping.
Thank you, Bomber. This
Thank you,
just in.
Bob. Guys, there is a very interesting flower in our world called ceroid cacti. And this flower, it has a very unique property. It just blossoms once a year. And once it blossoms, it stays up for a single night and then it dies. I love this flower and its tail. And I want to bring this logic of very interesting and unique events to Screen, to Star Atlas, and to the lore of our different and very crazy worlds that we are building for the community and for our project.
Now I have a
And
point on that one too. Okay, Jose, I
okay,
didn't know you were gonna keep going. Go. I got you.
can I share the full idea, or you want to go back to the other topic?
Do it.
Okay. No. Hold on. Let's go back. Because
Okay,
that's an idea that I feel like I could talk about for like 20 minutes.
okay.
Okay. Back. What we were talking about before. Whose comment was it? Gosh dang it. Here it is. Oh, Thorax comment. Yeah, Thorax comment. I was thinking of like mixing resources and getting like a different resource or something like that. It brings me back to a few months ago. I saw a comment from Michael talking about like there's gonna be like some sort of like he compared it to weed, and it would like give you like some sort of like boost. Like imagine you create like two resources, you put them together, you get something, and it gives you like an energy boost or something like that. Like it gives you like some kind of boost. I think that'll also be a market as well for resources, don't you think?
For sure, friend. For sure. I feel that Star Atlas should have all sorts of things that can boost their short-term performance and burn resources in exchange. For example, we could have a drugs industry that will allow players to have high performance on certain activities. For example, if you
Oh man.
have you can get energetics to get your crew more alert. You can have, I don't know, performance enhancers and things like that. And all of these we use different resources.
Yeah.
And like single use items, that you only use in certain fights or certain moments where you see it's do or die, and then you use those. And
Yeah.
also on recipe crafting, right? Trying to find new recipes, trying to create derivations from original crafts. I think it would be super awesome to try to experiment with different things and maybe even create different materials inside Star Atlas.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
kind of
it is
reminds
a
me.
career in Star Atlas, like scientist. We can.
Yes, it's one of the careers for
It's
sure.
one of the careers. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like the early human race, how they would like test berries, and sometimes they would be poisonous, other times it'd be delicious. So they like continuously evolve, and they realize like, oh, this berry is eatable. This berry is gonna kill me. Stuff like that. So like, I imagine, and Thorak had another cool comment here, where each thing you create, what if it has a side effect? Like, what if I create some like Red Bull, not sponsored by the way, Red Bull drink, and it gives me like energy, but then after like the crew member crashes for like 10 minutes with lower energy. Like what, like that's just something you'll have to learn to do as you go on. Like, oh, there's this side effect. So I think that's pretty cool actually. Man,
Man,
we could go
Skyrim
there
did this
forever.
very well. Elder Scrolls did this very well with their alchemy and crafting, where depending on what you mixed, it could be an extreme benefit, but there'd also be a disadvantage to using it as well. So yeah, all for the chemistry and alchemy here.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty
man,
awesome.
I wasn't going to say this. I
What's
wasn't
that?
going to say
Talk to me,
this.
Jose.
But
Talk to
since you said the word alchemy, since you used that bomber, I
we
feel
put
that
you in
this
the
is
corner,
I
huh?
feel this is like too much for me to hold. I see that there's no other team member in Star Atlas here right now. Oh, Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey.
Looks over both shoulders.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
Just
forget this, guys. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I'll say to you guys something very interesting. I'll say that there is a race in Star Atlas that loves the idea of meddling with alchemy.
Mhm.
Go
And
on.
it
Mhm.
in,
Oh,
and they
oh,
even have some weird rituals that involves the use of alchemy to and those rituals are often fatal to those who fail on them.
okay,
And
okay.
we are thinking about ways of enabling this for crew members in Star Atlas in a
Wow,
high risk and high reward environment.
wow. So you roll the dice
Oh,
and you might
you
do the
roll the
ritual,
dice on
or
your crew
You
members.
roll
You
the
just
dice and
crew
you might
member.
even lose your crew member. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is
oh
like
my
gambling,
god.
next level. Sorry, that's gambling, man. I'm not
I
even gonna put
am
those
not going to
together.
say anything more
I,
about
I I
this.
want the chat to try to guess this race. Who are they?
Do they even know
I
all the
want to see
races?
the chat. I don't know. I want to know what the
I
community.
was going to confirm the newts.
Yeah, the noobs.
I'm not going to confirm,
No,
but
we,
yeah,
we we
guys.
just want to see. We just want to see.
On
Yeah.
the topic of like having like a skill tree of like alchemy though, maybe like back to what we were talking about before, like if there's a side effect for like some kind of drug that you make inside the game, maybe the more skilled you are at alchemy, maybe the side effect goes away. I don't know, that could be another kind of thing that gets better with the skill tree.
Yeah, you get better with everything that you do in Star Atlas, right? And but yeah, man,
Mhm.
I wish I could disclose this because it's a pretty brutal ritual, but it's like the core of
Keep it
one of
steady. Keep it
the
steady.
civilizations of Star
People
Atlas. So
people think punavs. People think punavs. That's the most
Yeah,
common.
one thing. Can you imagine this? I create something that usually works. I use different resources, and seems like the same thing, but it actually doesn't work, or it blows up in the face of the guy who uses it. Can that happen?
you mean if things can go wrong with something that you are
Yeah, yeah,
trying in Star Atlas?
yeah. Things things go wrong on purpose. I create something in order to not work.
Make it
It
blows in someone's face?
Yeah, yeah,
You're
This
exactly.
is an
saying
interesting concept.
sabotaging? Yes. Like
Exactly. Well, sort of sabotaging, kind of like how charlatans create different tonics in the Wild West era.
Mm.
They did this, and then people used that, and it had 100% negative effects.
Man, this
so a
could be an
reverse
entire
snake oil salesman.
Exactly.
man, this could be an entire industry inside Star Atlas. It would be super fun. I love this. To be honest, I love it.
Yeah, I
Selling
mean,
snake oil, like Archetype said.
yeah, I mean, would this if we can, for example, considering your expertise, considering your level in alchemy and other things, you can achieve different results. Maybe you can control those results. And at one of the guys in the chat really did said something awesome. What if there is different effect on every race? So something for
Ooh.
Ustur is a booster, but for a mod, it's just killing. It's lethal.
Was that a pun? Ooster
Mm.
booster?
Booster. Man, this is something very interesting. And I just want to add something that Jonas spoke about in the brew chat, like having LSUs made by this famous person. I think that every craft in Star Atlas will be branded by the one that made it. So, for example, if you want to be recognized as the best ship crafter in the galaxy, you'll have your name on every ship that you build. I think this is a low ranking fruit that will make the game much more interesting, knowing that you have a ship that was crafted by Dominic, so you can stay away from it, or else it will explode, you know?
Hold on.
But yeah, I think this will be super cool for the people that are dedicated to crafting stuff in Star Atlas.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be very cool. And fact, we could even imagine that person build a NFT signature, and that NFT signature is applied on the ship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this would
yeah,
be awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So Jose, you were gonna talk about something,
Yeah, talk to me about
and
that
I
flower.
stopped you, man. And I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
do you want
I'm
me to
good.
start going
We're
to
good,
the
man.
final frontier of Alpha?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Yes, going back to the example of the flower, guys. There is this flower in Star Atlas that has very interesting properties in the lore of the game. It is said that there was a member of the Oni race that managed to find this flower and achieve immortality. And I really like this tale that we did in the lore, and I want these kind of things to be in Star Atlas, especially in the later stages of Sage and R2. So what's going to happen if this plan passes through Chips and the other guys' approval? The idea here is that at some time in the year, once a year, a flower would blossom in one of the medium risk planets in the inner reaches of the galaxy. And the player who would be able to get this flower would be able to make a very special tea that would allow a crew member to be immortal and
Immortal, right?
immortal, yes.
So this is
And
what. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Jose. Keep going.
yeah, and just to close this idea, this is one of the tales that I have for the how I like to put it, this the special resources and animals hunters of the galaxy. I plan to create lore around a variety of different things, jewels, plants, animals, temples, formations that will only happen under very special circumstances inside the blockchain of Star Atlas. Will not tell you guys what triggered those events, but you'll be able to learn this, especially if you are using data scanner ships or if you happen to be so lucky to experience or see these events in first hand. So this will bring a lot of variables to the Star Atlas game, to screen game, and maybe at some point all the community will know that at this time of year in that planet X, the flower will blossom at day X, hour Y, and we'll see the whole galaxy converging to acquire the elixir of the immortal or things like that, you know? And I feel this will be the ultimate flex and
Oh yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
and create very very interesting and unique gameplay loops
I
for
mean, imagine you're at like your Oni Central Space Station walking around and you see someone with a crew member and their crew member is like glowing orange because he's just now immortal and he's the only one in the Star Atlas universe who has it. You see a 101 just right in front of you and you know that guy's immortal. I'd be shaking in my boots,
Yeah.
Jose.
So it's only just let me digest this idea. First of all, this is not the only idea that you have, kind of like this, where it's like a random resource
no.
is spawning somewhere and you need to find it. But going back to this specific one, so it's a flower that blossoms once a year, and only one person will be able to get it, and will only be able to apply it to only one crew member, and that crew member will be immortal. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
that's the design currently, yeah.
I
Can
want
you
to
guys
hear yours.
imagine? Can you guys imagine like where everyone has like each faction has sent their data runners. They all know where this flower is, and they all know when it's gonna spawn, and everyone knows it's coming. And there's just an insane war going around a planet for this one flower. I can't even like that gets me so hyped. I'm looking like Spider-Man because I got the Peter tingle right now. My lord.
Yeah, man. I
I
feel
want
this
to
would
hear
make
the
very.
thoughts from
Yeah,
the
I want
community.
opinions
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this.
yeah. We want opinions. We want opinions.
I love the idea of dynamic resources and potential for items that don't exist outside of a singular point or in a specific time frame. There are many games that have this, and it adds a little bit of extra depth to the classic grind where you actually have to search and the potential of you never actually finding said item. It does add a lot of depth to it, so I'm all for it. Great vision.
Mhm.
Glad you
It
like
kind
it, bro.
of what I compared it to,
Yeah.
like a less public version of like if you guys have played Pokemon Go and when there's like a legendary creature that's spawning and everyone's like coming to a point because they can capture like this legendary Pokemon. Obviously, this is a lot. It's different, but it's kind of similar. It just reminded me of it.
Yeah, can I ask something? Just Jose, when you were talking somewhere in the middle of your talks, you said events that would happen for a specific people. I mean, people who reach a certain place, a certain well,
Conditions.
I don't
Yeah.
condition. Yeah. So is it like I don't know if I got it right. Correct me if I'm wrong. For example, someone who has worked on, for say, alchemy for like no, God knows how long, since the beginning, or say a year. And he has reached certain levels and he has worked in one branch of alchemy, for example. Can it be that that person could, for example, reach a breakthrough and create a new material, for example, find a new material? And this would happen only to that guy because he has dedicated all this time. Do we have events like that, like a specific event for specific people?
Hmm, this is a really, really, really interesting question. And I really love the idea of saying yes. For me, I feel that we should reward hard work and dedication on every career path in Star Atlas. And to address your question, for example, this special flower that I told you guys about, it is a very, very delicate resource, as one can imagine, right? So you'd need the right person to make you the tea of the flower. It's not like you just anyone can use it. So it might require the work of an alchemist or someone to make it proper for drinking, you know? And yeah, like everything's intertwined. And me personally, what I like to dedicate my time here in Star Atlas is to come up with all those crazy stuff and creating all those legends and lores for the planets, for the civilizations, and etc. Because I want to reward the guys that will be exploring the universe of Star Atlas. I want to reward the guy that takes his time to walk through the whole planet and he sees a strange rock that doesn't look quite natural and goes there and poke it and see that there's not a rock actually, but it's a living pet of the tufa, you know? Things like that. I want to create all these sorts of game loops for you guys that will make being inside Star Atlas and expanding time, researching and discovering stuff rewarding. And this goes in the micro level and it goes to the uber macro level. Like something that I'll also share this alpha. There's a living planet that wakes from time to time in the Star Atlas universe.
Oh my
And
fucking
it's
yeah.
and it starts hunting people, you know?
Yeah.
So if
Bomber
you are
steady, bro. Steady.
so if you are so if you are in the system of this planet and you make the mistake of landing on it, you'll probably get eaten by him, you know? And sometimes he wakes and starts floating through space. And he has lots of rare resources inside him. So you'd try to loot the planet, and the planet would loot you instead.
Oh my
That's what
god.
that's what makes the planet so rich of resources because he has the resource of everyone that landed there.
Wow.
And yeah,
So
guys,
you're telling me we're gonna need like 1,000-person raid boss fight for this planet, right?
there will be giant raid boss
That's what I
fighters.
like. That's what I like to hear.
Oh,
And
you
for
know we're
example,
fucking leading the charge, mate.
yeah,
I hear loot and I'm running.
Ahoy.
yeah, bro. And and things like that are just the beginning, you know. Like every day, I try to take some time to just go and, man, let's start thinking about some cool stuff to add to the game, a small bit, you know. And for example, there will be animals in Star Atlas and monsters that uh, just function during certain periods of the year. They hibernate, they hide, they are inside the lake, they are deep into the ocean, and things like that, you know. Or maybe you need to trigger the conditions to summon it. Maybe it was binded by an ancient ritual inside a ruin, and you need to discover the ritual in another place in the galaxy, and you won't know that those things are linked unless you start sharing information with other players. In my vision, I want to create a monster like a hunter career in Star Atlas, someone that will focus on discovering all the secrets, all the lore, all the exotic materials, and the different planets in the high risk zone. You know, this is my dream in Star Atlas, to make all those incredible content that goes outside of the flow of the natural events. And maybe you will find hints of things when you destroy Jorvik fleet. Maybe you find those things while you are scavenging a certain planet that has a ruin. And I want to set our players in the path of those macro events. And those events might change the whole dynamic of things like Sage. Like, for example, you know that a planet will be producing a very rare resource during one day of the month, and all factions will converge to this planet to try to conquer it and get the resources from there in that particular day. You know, these kind of things I think will motivate and will trigger enormous and very fun features in Star Atlas.
Yeah, something that would be really awesome. Imagine, for example, you says some monster, some giant monster is in hibernation, or I don't know, is sleeping somewhere. Imagine someone going there and poking it and waking it up. Now, the whole galaxy must deal with that thing because of this dude who poked it and woke it up.
That's
Man,
hilarious, and I hope that happens.
I totally think this is what's going to happen, you know? And I
Some
think this
fucking
will
dude on
happen
a
a lot.
PS4
I think,
just goes
man,
flying there.
I'll share. You guys want alpha? I'll share alpha. Man,
Okay.
Drop
Silent.
it.
there
Silent.
is, man,
Jose.
Steady.
there is a ruin in Star Atlas that has a very deadly disease. If a player goes to that place and opens the wrong urn, and there will be a disclaimer there to not open the urn, this guy will contract the disease. And if he contracts the disease, he's going to spread it to a very big portion of the galaxy. And this will require players to start researching the cure.
There is no
Otherwise,
Oh my
way.
god, no
yeah,
way. Just
There's no way
yeah,
I could get sick in game, right? Like I'm
yeah,
already sick
yeah.
right now, man.
you get the COVID in game. Oh my
Oh,
You
god.
guys want alpha? I'm dropping alpha. That's it.
Oh my god, you're canceled, Jose.
And to mix all those ideas, we could even imagine you were speaking about a monster entering. We could imagine also that you are able to see monster under specific drug effects. Come back to the first idea with drugs. If you don't have consume the specific drugs, you don't see it. You can also meet a specific monster because you attract them with drugs. And of course, this famous disease would be uh, fixed by specific drugs or specific remedy that we craft with specific recipe and elements.
You guys want to know another one? That's
Man,
pretty
Thorak,
cool.
this is your topic, Thorak. You're killing
Yeah,
it.
The
man.
resource
Yeah,
master.
this is super cool. And another one, for example, when we have the UE5 version of the game, there will be some monsters that you can't simply see with your normal eyes. So you might need to acquire certain equipments that will allow you to perceive the monster. You know, things like that.
I like that.
And yeah, guys, we are going all out on creating the lore and creating all those cool stuff. And when those things are starting to come alive, Star Atlas will be super cool, man. It's super cool.
So Jose, I have a question about maybe you can answer this, but you were talking about like a sickness. Would that apply to oysters as well, or is there certain sicknesses that only apply to like mud or only?
Man, oysters can get sick as well. Oysters
Oh
can get
wow,
sick as well. There are,
wow.
I would say
Challenge.
that
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
th-
I'm sorry.
there are even certain diseases that are focused on the oysters. You know,
Oh.
Wow, are you saying they can get sick more?
They get a
mm,
virus.
mm.
Just don't watch porn.
No way. Uh,
Cancel
Let's keep
bomber.
it steady, steady.
Just keep
Steady
it steady,
bomber.
steady bomber. But yeah, oysters they have their own problems to deal with. I can't talk about them now, but yeah, you see, every race and faction in Star Atlas, no one's perfect. You know, no one's perfect. Far from it. And the important thing is to know your weakness and know your strengths inside
I
Star Atlas.
I think Mud's weakness is that they're boring.
Whoa!
Well,
Shots fired.
shots fired.
Shots
Yeah,
are being fired.
man, the Mud's lore is super crazy, guys. They well, it's humans, right? So we know how they behave. And when you get that to the galactic level of Star Atlas, shit goes crazy. Shit goes crazy. I can't say more about that.
That picture in the Atlas Brew chat, the sick
The
ooster.
sickest.
I've seen this before, and it gets me every time. Oh my gosh.
What does will progress data for energy? Oh my god. Impulses.
Give this man some love.
Oh,
Golly, yeah, that's General
poor
Grievous.
rooster. Oh my god. What
That's
did happen
Benny.
to
That's
what
Benny
happened?
right there. After all the crackers he's eaten. Benny, where you at? I know
Is
you're
Benny
in here.
here? No, he's not.
But
Uh,
yeah, guys, as you can see, resources is not just an economical feature inside the universe of Star Atlas. Resources are important from the geopolitical point, but also they will provide some of the most satisfying gameplay loops inside the game, in my opinion. You know, I feel that me personally, I feel that spend a lot of time as a data runner trying to figure out the different triggers and constraints and resources and rare stuff that revolves around the different resources in Star Atlas. And this creates a market of its own, right? Because there will be a market for those rare resources inside Star Atlas of collectors, of people trying to achieve like that plus 5% efficiency with the best resources that the galaxy can afford for their fleets. And even the become immortal feature, right? This is the ultimate flex. Like, man, my crew is immortal. Deal with this, you know? Like, that's it. You are immortal. And in a game where assets get destroyed, this would be super cool.
Yeah, one thing that would be really cool if there was certain complex patterns, like for example in a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, you see still people following, I don't know, clouds following people around, reaching certain things. For some people who would, dedicate their life in Startless just to watch some stuff. I mean, maybe short term is not such a really good idea, but in the long term, if there was some pattern that they could recognize, and since it's on blockchain, they could really relate to that and maybe even predict some stuff. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's my idea for the career of data runner, right? You see patterns, you explore worlds, and you start to figure out the truths that are hidden before the veil of reality. You know, I feel that this career will be the guys that will unfold the mysteries of how the things in Staratas works for real. And personally, I don't think about confirming anything that you guys bring. So you guys will need to check the information for yourselves and sell and buy information from players and trying to figure out things on your own, you know. I feel this is part of the fun of the universe of Star Atlas, is that this will require players to investigate and exchange information with one another.
Jose, did you see the theories and strategies that are coming from the
There's already so many.
Yeah, so we have one that says being immortal, so you get that flower, you're immortal, and you go kamikaze mode.
Well, we'll be
I mean,
floating in
Jose,
space, right? It's
Jose,
another.
just because someone goes kamikaze doesn't mean they can't be captured, though,
The
right?
Yeah,
Like,
ship isn't
exactly,
immortal
exactly.
though, just the player.
Yeah,
but
it's a crew member, right?
yeah, it's
So
just a crew member. Yeah, just a crew member. I think if it was the player, God, that would be way too much.
yeah,
That'd be game
yeah,
breaking.
so this way, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and what if you get you
Man,
rent a taxi, you rent a taxi for the crew member, and you send them to the enemy space station while you're infected by the other thing that you mentioned. This is Bomber's idea.
oh yeah,
Vaya
bomber.
de
Oh,
taxi.
it's a DJ. That's that's
Here,
that's violation of the treaties on the Galactic Wars.
What
Bomber.
treaties? We don't
He's a
follow
parrot.
laws.
I
You
also
can't use biological warfare against people.
okay. Well,
This
Why
is
not?
I
wrong.
really respect balance, like game balance. So I would say like what I was thinking an immortal crew member would look like is they would have some like very obvious glow. So if you see someone with a very obvious like orange glow, just strolling into your central space station, I'd be a little freaked
Yeah,
out
get
for sure.
away.
So
Yeah.
you get the
Uh,
hazmat squad, man. Like I feel like that's a good balance for it. Is just making it super obvious that he is quote unquote immortal, like he ate the flower. Um,
yeah, he can create
I'd
the
be
speed for his own,
shitting
right?
my pants. Pardon my language. If I saw an orange fella just strolling in my CSS, for sure.
Yeah, but I think
Question
if
for
you
you on the hypothetical diseases. Would you be able to essentially capture the disease, less spread it?
mm, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Can you
Unless,
sell the cure?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like absolutely.
yeah, you should be able to sell the cure for sure.
Yeah,
But
use these
I
ingredients
don't
in this
know.
order.
Maybe we should create a whole industry for biological engineering in Star Atlas, right? I didn't. I'll talk to Danny about that.
It fits within the alchemy, which is, pretty much everything there.
And what
Man,
about
this is
this idea? You have this big disease, this big monster, and to create the cure for the disease, you need to fight the monster. Of course, it will be a loot, but how to share a loot with 1,000%? How to say this one or this one? Then you fix the problem by having a random person that will have this famous part of the needs to create the cure, and that specific resource will be stuck on the inventory of that person. And that person would have the choice to share it to heal the people or to keep it. But in that case, he must be very well hidden because he has no way to put this resource in a big space station that is protected in a low risk space or else, meaning that if he doesn't want to share it, he becomes a target for a lot of people on the server.
Yeah,
I
imagine
can.
spreading false news. Spreading false news, making
Yeah,
people fight each other just over something that's not even the cure.
exactly. This kind of thing can happen, and that's why we need reporters in Star Atlas, right? We need people to verify information. We need people to to take care of those affairs. You know, the Star Atlas universe is going to be huge, guys. You know, like the the possibilities and the random events that we want to create and trigger. Man, I feel this is going to be very, very fun. Very, very fun.
Anybody has any more theories? I saw one from Tuki Puki. I'm not going to get into details on what he plans to do after, but he said, "What if, that we were saying that you will be glowing golden. If you are immortal, you get the flower. But if you make people think that you actually have the virus, but you don't have it, and it was fake, so you're glowing fake.
I mean, I think like I was talking
You can
about
create a
the.
skin, right?
Yeah,
I feel like the immortal glow should be so painfully obvious and not recreatable because it's so rare. So like it should be a glow that you know can't be faked. In my
But
opinion,
why?
that's just
But
game
why?
game
Let's
balance. In my opinion,
let's let people try to fake it. You know,
yeah.
I
Oh,
think everyone. I think everyone in the server will know who is the immortal. You know,
yeah,
You just
I think
shoot him.
this. Yeah, this will be a widespread
yeah.
news,
Just
I
shoot
guess.
it. Yeah, just shoot the guy and see what happens. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man, that's so fun. Jose, did you drop all the alpha that you had for today?
yeah, I guess so. And I'm being called right now. I need to go.
You have to go to a call, right?
I have to. Santi, steady, Santi,
I've
steady.
now learned this is a way of your break in case of emergency out of a conversation.
I'll not comment on that, but I think I earned my leave because I dropped too much alpha today.
Bro,
I think
there's a
it's not
lot
Jose,
of
fair.
interest.
you did well, Jose. You did well.
Yeah, I did God's work today.
Yeah,
Full degen.
yeah, yeah. You went a little rogue.
You went
Yeah,
broke, Jose. We had
Kelsey,
but
Kelsey
don't tell on
listening.
us. Don't
Kelsey
tell on
yeah,
listening.
hopeful Kelsey will forget everything he heard today.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's do a little recap on all the alpha that just shared with us today. So Kelsey can take notes and fire Jose.
No,
us.
please.
I'm kidding.
I'll be going, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll talk later. See you.
See you, Jose.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Jose.
So yeah, Dom, let's do a small recap. Uh, so we talked about that there will be resources that will spawn also randomly in the Stratos universe, and that data runners will need to find them. That's one thing we
Data
know.
runners are gonna be OP, in my opinion. This is just my opinion.
Yeah,
Data
it's
runners
gonna be an
that sounds crazy. It sounds really fun though.
yeah. I know there are a lot of people interested in being a data runner. So yeah. Then Jose got into the specifics of one of his proposals that he has for the team, which is having a flower that blossoms only once a year, and that if you get it, you can make also only one person in the whole galaxy will be able to get it. But if you do, you can get one of your crew members, make one of your crew members immortal. So that is pretty cool. What else? I'm missing a lot of
I
stuff.
mean the thing with this flower is we also talked about there being like they don't always have to be so grand as that.
Yes.
Like we were talking about, how I compared it to Pokemon Go, and how you can catch legendary creatures if you go in the same spot and you see like a bunch of people in the same area. How I see that operating in like Sage is I see like maybe it's a weekly or bi-weekly, but there's a planet in the Sage universe that everyone knows is there's going to be like some sort of rare resource spawning there. And I think it should be random where it spawns every 2 weeks. But maybe one day it's in the mud territory, or maybe one day it's in the Oni territory, or maybe one day it's in the neutral territory, and that completely disrupts the galaxy and the battlefield. Like there's these rare resources that people are going to really hone in on and make sure that their guild, their faction gets it over others. So I think it's gonna promote a lot of war between the faction, not only the factions, but maybe like even like civil faction wars, because maybe one guild is going to want this rare resource all to
Yeah.
themselves. It depends
Yeah.
on how it operates, but like having like knowing that these rare resources spawn once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every month, whatever it decides, and having that opportunity in Sage, I think is really really exciting, and I think it's going to disrupt the whole thing, which is
Yeah.
I think is really fun.
I feel like that aspect of the gameplay makes it a lot, but a lot more interesting.
Yep.
Like having that makes it a lot more interesting.
Yep. I agree.
And
I agree.
another alpha that just dropped was this planet. There's probably going to be a planet. I'm not sure if this is approved yet. I don't know. Just I went completely rogue with this. But there's going to be a planet in which you will see all the resources and it's going to look really nice to you, but then the planet will eat you if you go there. So you, of course, you won't know until you get attacked by the planet. So, and the planet has a lot of resources because the planet collects the resources that uh, he steals from the players.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be really difficult to loot that planet. It's gonna take a lot of work.
Challenge
So
accepted.
Yeah, Bomber
yeah,
called it a raid boss, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think that
Yeah,
could be really
I
fun.
think even more than the flower, I'm very excited for these random, I would say, Titan-sized class monsters that randomly appear. That adds a lot of depth to the game. So very excited to learn more about that.
I mean, that's another thing, right, Bomber? Like, if you see like the Oni faction and they're doing this raid fight, right? And you don't want them to do it. Maybe there's a war that happens outside of this raid, and then there's so much stuff going on in that instance. I like that's where it gets really exciting, right? So
Yeah, it's gonna
I
get
feel like
sticky.
I could talk about that for hours, but
Yeah.
yeah. Another
Well,
another thing we
can I
talked
talk?
about. Yeah, go
Can I
for it, Roz. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, I'm
Go for
sorry.
it.
I'm just talking this concept. I was thinking this concept of a titan, a giant, always the first solution that everyone gets. Okay, gather up and kill it. I mean, if we could add some complexity, add some depth to it, so like something that something that can be used as a bait and move it around and change the course of its movement and like make it move towards the enemy towards another faction. That would be great. That would be way more complex, more intellectual than just gathering everyone and just kill it. Which is very common right now.
Mm. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
You
Finishing the
were going to
recap
say
though.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Finishing the recap. I mean, you can't talk about resources without talking about the obvious here. Like we talked about ship manufacturing, weapon manufacturing. What else am I missing here, Santi? I know there's another one. Bu- 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 bu.
You mean the obvious for resources?
Yep.
So ship, guns, um,
Oh yeah, infrastructure as well. Yeah, that's
infrastructure,
yeah.
components.
So
Yes.
I mean, we talked about a whole lot today. I mean, I feel like we could go on for hours. This was a great topic, actually, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Um, but yeah, Santi, you wanna
Yeah.
end things off here?
Let's close it. But thank you so much, guys, for joining to the brew number 39. And we have a lot to digest after this one. But since we changed the structure and we know the topics so much in advance, we can have things like this prepared. Also, we were taking notes. Your guy Dominic was taking notes during the whole brew, and all the things we talked about, all the feedback that you guys give to us, we shared this with the team in charge of the specific thing we're speaking about. So it reaches the team. This doesn't mean that it's going to make it to the game or whatever, but your voice is heard, and that's also pretty important and cool. So thank you so much, guys, for joining to the brew. I loved this conversation, and see you on the next one. Power to the people.
I stick it to the man. Thank you,
See you guys.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye.